in problem 2, we've got this fraction here. I'll blow him up just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the fractions because I think it's easier. What you could do, though, and I worked with some students on this, is if you wanted to, you can just subtract this 6/10. It's just a number like that. And so on the left-hand side, they cancel. And on the right-hand side, we actually have to do that subtraction problem. So if you look over at the calculator there, I got 192 divided by 270. Let's get the 192 in there. 192 divided by 270. I'm going to subtract 6/10. I could have reduced that to 3/5, but I'll just leave it as 6/10 right now. And I'll hit math fraction. So it'll do the subtraction problem and give me the fraction answer all in one turn. So it gives me 1/9. So now I pretty much have it solved. All I need to do is get rid of this negative sign and get rid of this 6. So I'll undo the negative by multiplying by a negative, and I'll undo divide by 6 by multiplying by 6. And I'll do that to both sides. So on the left-hand side, when I multiply, negative times negative is positive, and then 6 over 6 cancels, leaving me with just n. Now I've multiplied by a negative number here, so you do have to flip your inequality. When you multiply by a negative or divide by a negative, flip it. And over here, 1/9 times negative 6, think of that being over 1, so it's negative 6, 1 times negative 6, and 9 times 1, or n is less than, divide by 3. Looks like n is less than 2/3. Now this method I used works just fine. It fits right in with the way you guys have solved everything in the past. I'm going to show you an alternative method that we did discuss. One of the things we don't like to have is all these fractions. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to check out this number 270, this denominator here. If I multiplied this right side by 270, it would cancel out that fraction. But if I take the left side or right side times 270, I'm going to have to take everybody on the left side by 270. And that looks like really hard math, but it's not very hard math. And the reason is here, this 270 is just going to cancel, so you never really have to do the multiplication. And you just end up with, since you multiplied by a positive, you just end up with 192 on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side now, we could multiply 270 by 6 and then divide by 10. But we're going to do the division first. I'm going to divide 10 into 270 to simplify that fraction. 10 goes into 270 27 times. So I no longer have a denominator. My denominator is just 1. So now I've just got 27 times 6 on top. The same thing goes for my 270 here and my 6. I'm going to carry out that 270 divided by 6. I'll just grab my calculator here. 270 divided by 6. It's 45, so this simplifies to just 45. So I have got a 6 times 27 here. So we will do that on our calculator. 6 times 27. That's 162. Oops, let's write with a pen, that'll help. Minus, and 270 divided by 6. We already did this one, but I'll show it to you again. So it's minus 45 n's. So 6 went to 270 45 times. And now by multiplying by that big denominator of 270, notice how I no longer have any fractions in it. And so now we can just go about solving this thing like we normally would. Subtract our 162, giving us negative 45n. It's greater than, I think that's just 30. And we'll divide by a negative 15 here, or negative 45. Sorry. Dividing causes me to flip the inequality. There's that flip again. And I get negative, both divisible by 3. And those are both divisible by 5. So negative 2/3. I should divide everybody by 15 right here. And it would jump me right to n is less than or equal to 2. thirds. Lastly, there is a slight mistake in this problem. Right up here, I was subtracting 162, and I thought for a moment that was below my inequality sign, that negative, and was actually part of the inequality. So what that means is I shouldn't have a weak inequality here. It should be the strong one, which means no equal sign with it. It should just be greater than here, and the other one should just be less than, not less than or equal to. So n is less than -2/3.